When I first began recommending a plant-based diet to my patients, I was excited about the potential to transform lives. The science was clear. This way of eating could reverse chronic diseases, help with weight loss, and boost energy levels. I was ready to change the world one plant-based plate at a time, but I quickly realized I was missing a critical piece of the puzzle. While I had the medical knowledge to support my recommendations, I lacked the practical understanding of what it meant to live this lifestyle. My patients came back frustrated. Where do I get my protein? I don't have time to cook like this. What do I do when I'm with my family? Why am I so tired? I had given them the what, but not the how, and it was a really humbling moment. But it taught me an important lesson. If you don't set a solid foundation, it's easy to feel lost and give up. Now, this is what we're going to talk about today. This is really the resource I wish I had back then for my patients and myself. It's literally, I'm going to give you some very practical and easy step-by-step approach to starting and sustaining a plant-based diet, whether you're just beginning or ways to look to stay consistent. And at the end, I'm going to share with you 2 ways to go even deeper. We just published our first book, Plant-Based 101, which you can pre-order on Amazon, and how to join the Healing Kitchen, where we meet every single week. More on that in a minute. But if you're new to this video or this community, my name is Dr. Lori Marbus. I'm a board-certified family and lifestyle medicine physician. I have seen plant-based patients for well over a decade now. I'm on the plant-based journey myself for 13 years. I'm licensed in all 50 states. And so I have actually seen a plant-based patient in every single state in this country. And I don't think there's any other physician who can say that. So I feel very well versed at this point to help you navigate your journey. So what is step 1? Number 1 is understand what the plant-based diet actually is. A plant-based diet isn't about perfection. It's about prioritizing plants as the main source of nourishment. This includes fruits and vegetables, whole grains, legumes, lentils, nuts, and seeds. So unlike strict veganism, it allows some flexibility, which makes it way more approachable than for many. Now, the missteps that I made, early on, I thought simply telling patients to eat more plants was enough. But understanding the why behind the diet is just as important as understanding the how. So when you know the benefits, it's easier to stick with it. For health reasons, a plant-based diet lowers the risk of heart disease, diabetes, and high blood pressure while supporting health weight management. I first understood the value of a whole food plant-based diet with type 2 diabetes. In the first year I started working with patients with a plant-based diet, I had to stop 60 units of insulin on a type 2 diabetic patient within 72 hours. That's 3 days. I had never seen anything like that. And I quickly learned there is an art and science to deprescribing medication. So if you're working with a doctor who doesn't quite understand the power of plants, they may not be able to deprescribe you quickly enough, and you could suffer. So if you have diabetes or hypertension, you're on medications, or you're with someone, live with someone who'll be eating your foods with you, and they are on these medications, please talk to your doctor about that, and that you may need to decrease your dosages very, very quickly. Next is really the planet, right? It's a sustainable choice that reduces your carbon footprint. That is a no-brainer. And then compassion, really, it aligns with the ethical values for many people, reducing harm to animals. So you can take a moment to reflect, really, what is your reason? Knowing all this will really help ground you when challenges arise. And number 2 is start small and build momentum. So when I first went plant-based, I tried to change everything overnight. Spoiler, it was hard, right? I felt overwhelmed, and so did my patients. The key is to start small. So your first steps, number 1, is focus on additions, not subtractions. So instead of thinking about it as what to cut out, add more plants to your current meals. So toss spinach into your morning smoothie, swap regular milk for almond, oil, or oat milk, or soy milk, or serve a hearty side of roasted vegetables with dinner. You can also try plant-based days, right? So adopt a meatless Monday, or designate a few meals each week that are strictly plant-based. Now, those small changes build confidence without feeling restrictive. You can also recreate your favorites. So love tacos, try lentil or black bean tacos instead of beef. Craving creamy pasta, so experiment with like a cashew cream or nutritional yeast for that cheesy flavor. And one of the other ways that has worked really well with my patients and other people is starting just with breakfast for a week. Then the next week you go to breakfast and lunch. And then the third week, go to breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And that is a great way to, over the course of 21 to 28 days, to fully transition to a whole food plant-based diet if that's your ultimate goal. Because remember, those small wins create momentum, and that makes the transition feel natural. It builds confidence, and it won't feel quite so overwhelming. Step 3 is learn the basics of plant-based nutrition. Now, this is where I almost failed my patients. I thought plants are healthy, just go eat them, right? I didn't think about clarifying what that meant. But nutrition isn't that simple. So to thrive on a plant-based diet, you really need to understand the basics. For example, my patient would come back and say, I'm just feeling so tired when I eat this way. So I started asking, well, what are you eating? Well, what they did is like, oh, she said go eat a plant-based diet. So she just went to the produce section. Okay, that is fantastic. There's fruits and veggies here, but these are very low-calorie foods. There's a few starchy veggies in there. But for the most part, they were eating mostly salads and other things like that. Those were not enough calories to sustain a person. So that is when I understood there's a few things that we need to focus on. So these are what I want you to focus on. One is protein, right? Found in beans, lentils, tofu, tempeh, quinoa, nuts, and seeds. Combining all sorts of veggies and starchy veggies and your whole grains and your beans and legumes, you're going to eat a variety of very fulfilling and satiating foods and get plenty of protein in the meantime. 2 is iron. Really think about plant-based sources like spinach, lentils, chickpeas. They're best absorbed also with vitamin C. So think about citrus fruits or bell peppers. Now, B12 is the only supplement that I tell my patients that is actually non-negotiable. It's created by bacteria, not by animals nor by plants. It lives in water, it lives in dirt, in the soil. So you do need to supplement this on I would suggest a daily basis. Typically 500 to 1,000 micrograms daily will be enough to get your blood levels, when you check it, your serum levels to be above 500. Why do I say above 500 when the normal is, I think, 250 or something and above? I have seen patients, even if they weren't plant-based, if they are below 500, they are symptomatic of B12 deficiency on other labs and symptom-wise, nerve tingling, fatigue, brain fog, not thinking well. Next is omega-3s. You can add chia seeds, ground flax seeds, walnuts to your meals, or consider it an algae-based supplement like EPA, DHA. That's a great way to start. And then for calcium, people worry about that. You can get plenty of calcium. I hit my 1,200 milligrams every single day. I use fortified soy milk. Some people do like the calcium set tofu. There's also, I would do like low oxalate greens like kale, because greens that contain high oxalates will bind to the calcium and decrease your absorption. So you just want to be mindful about that. So really understanding the basics can give you the confidence to create the balanced meals that you nourish your body. Step 4 is plan your meals for success, right? So when my patients struggled, it often came down to a lack of planning. So without a game plan, it's easy to reach for convenience foods that don't align with your goals. So meal planning tips, there's 3. Number 1, batch cook staples. So prepare big batches of beans, grains, and roasted vegetables at the start of the week. Now, these are versatile ingredients, and they can be mixed and matched for quick meals. 2, keep it simple, right? So start with easy recipes like veggie stir fries, grain bowls, and hearty soups. No need for gourmet meals every day. Simplicity absolutely wins. And then embrace versatile sauces, right? A good sauce can transform any meal. Blend tahini, lemon juice, garlic, and a splash of water for a creamy dressing. Or mix, let's say, tamari, ginger, and a little bit of maple syrup for kind of more of an Asian-inspired flavor. Step 5, navigating social situations with confidence. Now, I would say absolutely one of the biggest challenges my patients faced was eating plant-based in social settings. Holidays, family dinners, and nights out with friends can actually feel like landmines when you are not prepared. So here are a few things to think about. Strategies for social success. 1 is communicate, right? Let hosts know your dietary preferences ahead of time and offer to bring a plant-based dish to share. Next is focus on what you can have. So most gatherings have plant-based options like salads, fruit platters, or veggie sides. Build your plate around those. Also, when you're going out, find restaurants in advance. Use apps like Happy Cow or Yelp, and they can definitely find some plant-based options in most localities. I'll give you 2 other things that I do personally. I have lived across I've lived in 9 or 10 states in the United States, and we have traveled literally from Washington State to Florida, from Southern California to Boston, Massachusetts. I have stayed and traveled in a car and in planes all across this nation, and traveled I've been to Africa and ate this way. There's so many different ways you can do this. So there's one fast food restaurant that you can get a pretty decent meal when you're just like really stuck in the middle of nowhere, is Taco Bell. Hear me out. Taco Bell, you can order basically a burrito that just has black beans, their brown rice, and you can add their lettuce and different things. And that's it. You tell them you don't want anything else. You don't want any of their cheesy sauces. You don't want anything else. And honestly, that is the one food that has saved me more than a few times. The other one is Starbucks. Oatmeal with the blueberries and some nuts and seeds. I feel like those two have been literally the backbone of my travel experience. Outside of that, you can also go to, if you stay in a hotel with a little kitchenette or at least a microwave, what I would suggest is going to like Whole Foods or a grocery store and finding things there that you can prepare in your room. You can also eat in advance if you're going somewhere. So there's just some ideas for you. I know that can be challenging, but absolutely you can do it. Step 6 is really stay inspired, right? So burnout is real, right? Even with your best intentions. So staying inspired is key to making this lifestyle sustainable. Here's a few ways to stay motivated. One is track your progress. So notice how your energy improves, your skin glows, your lab results change, you're stopping medications. 2 is join a community like the Healing Kitchen, link below. Find like-minded people online or in local groups who can support and encourage you. And then experiment in the kitchen. Keep trying new recipes, right? To avoid getting stuck in kind of a food rut. I know like people like myself, I don't have any problem eating the same thing over and over. I don't need to eat something massive and new every day, but some people are foodies. They like to play with the flavors in the kitchen, and I think that's fabulous. I love to eat their food. But if you're struggling and you fail, don't worry. Don't feel like you give up the boat just because something doesn't taste good. It's just the kitchen. Nobody is judging you except yourself, and there's no reason to judge yourself. That's just silly. So let it go. Next is kind of what I was describing before, is just give yourself some grace, right? Just let it go. There's no such thing as a perfect plant-based eater, including myself, right? So if you slip up, it's not a failure. It's a part of the process. It's just learn from it and keep going. Now, remember, the plant-based diet is one of the most impactful decisions that you can make for your health and the planet and for the animals. It's not just a journey. It's a journey. Remember, it's not a destination. And each step forward is an absolute victory. So if you're ready to dive deeper, like I mentioned before, you can pre-order my book with Brittany Giroudi called Plant-Based 101, The Ultimate Guide to Mastering the Plant-Based Diet. It is on pre-order now. The link is below. We are so excited. It is a beautiful book. You can get on Kindle. The print edition should be ready in a few days. You can also pre-order that. It'll be ready by January 1st to ship out to get you started in the new year. In addition to that, if you want even more hands-on help, you can join the Healing Kitchen. And boy, we just launched our community. We had been meeting just via Zoom, just in not having contact with our members before that in between the week. But now we have a 24/7 hour community. It has been such a blast. We have our course that we're about to launch in there. We have workshop recordings, other ebooks. We have protocols, like you may have noticed about my cholesterol lowering protocol that's been very popular here on YouTube, and people are commenting how their cholesterol is dropping 25%, their LDL is dropping 50 points, and they were already plant-based. I have all sorts of workshops in there that's recordings. We do those monthly. Those are also free to our members, and our price will be going up in January because we offer so much value. We meet weekly. Brittany cooks 2 recipes. These are all recorded. I answer medical questions. So you literally have access to a plant-based physician every single week live. And I'm in the community answering questions as well. For example, I had another member today was like, man, I really am looking for a way to track my daily habits and what I'm eating and how much I should. I said, I can create that for you. I made it for it. Now it's a download that everybody can utilize. We had, people asking about You have downloads for why people are plant-based or fatigued and all the things, all the other videos I've done. There's handouts there as well. And you have access to all the recordings for the last year and a half that we've been doing this. So I tell you guys, it is a wonderful place to be, vibrant community. Come join us. There's no judgment there. You can share all things plant-based or other questions. We're there to support you in your journey, your health journey, be it plant-based questions or other. So hope you found that helpful. I will see you on the other side of tomorrow. And thanks for being here. Don't forget, if you're new, please hit the subscribe button and the alert button. Share this with someone if you think it would be beneficial for them as well. Thank you as always, and I will talk to you tomorrow.